All right, let's dive into a story that is part sci-fi and part, well, a pretty chilling reflection of our own deep past. It's a world built around a story called HOMO, and it's going to force us to ask a really tough question. Who gets to decide what it means to be human?
Just imagine hearing that. A mother, who belongs to a different kind of human species, asks an investigative journalist this question. She's not asking for a fight or for justice. She's just asking for the dignity of an ending. And that, right there, that's the emotional gut punch at the heart of the world we're about to explore.
So here's the whole premise. In this world, humanity didn't just end up as one single species. Nope. Instead, 5 distinct types of humans evolved, they all survived into the modern age, and now they're all coexisting in this, let's just say, fragile global society.
Okay, so who are the players on the board? First up, you've got Homo sapiens. They're a lot like us, they're the majority, they run the politics and the culture. Then you have the Neanderthals, these physically powerful masters of heavy industry. Next are the Denisovans, who are famous for thriving at insanely high altitudes. You've also got the brilliant Homo floresiensis, or Floresians. They're small in stature, but absolute geniuses in biotech. And finally, you have the more traditionalist Homo erectus communities. It's our world, but with this incredible species diversity woven right into its DNA.
And here's where things get really interesting. What if I told you that this core idea, a whole planet just teeming with different kinds of humans, isn't just some cool story concept? What if it's a reflection of our own real history?
That's right. It's not fiction. The scientific record is crystal clear on this. For most of our history, Homo sapiens shared this planet with other human species. You know, this idea of us being the only humans around, that's not the norm. That's the exception.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's a staggering thought. For these vast, almost unimaginable stretches of time, our direct ancestors walked a world that was populated by their evolutionary cousins. This wasn't some brief overlap. This was the status quo for a very long time.
This timeline really puts it all in perspective. So our species, Homo sapiens, we show up around the 300,000-year mark. But just look at that massive overlap. For more than 250,000 years, we were not alone. We shared the planet with Neanderthals and the Denisovans. It's only in the last 40,000 years, which is just a tiny sliver of our history, that we've been the last humans standing.
And this table here really shows you how different these paths were. You've got Homo sapiens with our unique high vaulted skull. Then there are the Neanderthals, clearly built for the cold with that prominent brow ridge. And the Denisovans, who were just starting to understand thanks to finds like the Harbin cranium, showing they were built for life at high altitudes. The key thing is, these weren't failed experiments. These were 3 distinct, very successful forms of humanity.
So this is where it all comes together. The creators of the Homo story took this incredible scientific reality and used it as a launchpad. They looked at real-world paleoanthropology and just asked a simple question. What if they'd all survived?
Let's break it down. Take the Denisovans. Science tells us their DNA has a specific gene variant, EPAS1, that helps modern-day Tibetans live in low-oxygen environments. So what does the story do? It brilliantly spins that into a whole society of high-altitude specialists, masters of mining and atmospheric science. You see? Fact directly inspiring fiction.
And what about the Neanderthals? Well, we know from the fossil record, they had these really robust, powerful skeletons built for tougher, colder climates. So in this story that translates perfectly, they become a culture of master craftsmen in heavy industry, in stonework, and metallurgy. It makes perfect sense, right?
Oh, this one is fantastic. So science discovers Homo floresiensis, this incredibly small human species they nicknamed hobbits. The story takes that physical trait and turns it into a specialization. The fictional Floresians are tiny, sure, but they're geniuses in the microscopic world. Biotech, precision engineering. I mean, what a beautiful, creative way to interpret the science.
Okay, but let's get back to the story's central conflict. Because this scientifically grounded world, it's facing a terrifying threat. There's a secret conspiracy moving in the shadows, all designed to secure a future for Homo sapiens only, by quietly, systematically eliminating everyone else.
Now, this isn't happening with armies or invasions. It's a silent biological war. And it starts with these chillingly quiet patterns. Floradian birth rates suddenly just collapse. Neanderthal infant mortality starts spiking, but only in certain neighborhoods. Denisovan clinics start reporting these strange patterns of unexplained sterilizations. And of course, the authorities are just dismissing it all. But a small cross-species group, a Neanderthal union leader, a Floresian scientist, and a sapiens journalist, they're starting to connect the terrifying dots.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. The villains here aren't some invading aliens or evil robots, they're us. They're an elite group of people who truly believe they're doing the right thing, that they're saving humanity by ensuring a future for just one species. And that's the real horror, right? The motivation behind it all is terrifyingly human.
Which brings us to the ultimate question this whole story is asking. It's a question for the sapiens in that fictional world for sure, but it's also a question for every single one of us. By creating a world with these literal, biological divides between species, the story is basically just holding up a giant mirror to our own society. It forces us to look at our own real-world struggles with prejudice, with diversity, with power. It's a sci-fi lens that brings our own reality into much sharper focus.
And that brings us back to this one, stark, undeniable number. After hundreds of thousands of years of a crowded, multi-human world, today, there is only one. We are the sole survivors.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. If you actually lived in that world, a world where humanity was fractured into different biological kinds, where would your loyalty really lie? Would you fight for your own kind and your own kind only? Or would you fight for the much bigger and maybe more dangerous idea that all of them, all of us, deserve to be called humanity?